Hi class, hope you're doing well. Today we're going to talk about APA-style tables and figures in Word. What about them? Well, we're going to talk first about structure of APA-style tables and figures. So in general, what goes into those and what is the layout? Then we're going to talk about how to make APA-style tables in Word. And then we'll talk briefly about how to display your APA-style tables and figures in your APA-style paper. Ready? Alright, so let's start with the first part. The structure of tables and figures in APA style. And so here are a couple of examples. You can see a table on the left and a figure on the right. Can you tell in what ways these two are similar? And so you may have noted, oh, look at those. Those are bolded and have numbering. Maybe you might have noticed that the titles are here, up here in italics. You may have noticed that there is something called note at the bottom. So let's break these down and see what that's all about. And so in terms of general structure, so both tables and figures have a pretty similar structure. And so first of all, up top is a bolded numbering for that particular table or figure. And so you will number each table and each figure as you go. So here is table 2. That's in bold. Below that, after a couple double line spaces, is the italicized title. And you will notice that each major word is capitalized here, and everything is italicized. And so here is the title for the table or figure. The body of the table and figure go here in the middle. And then there are notes at the bottom. And so breaking these components down just a little bit more, this is a little bit of a review that for tables and figures, you will use Arabic numerals, just regular numbers to number them. And of course, you would number them in the order that they're mentioned in your paper and bold this number up top. A couple of lines below come the title, and it should be brief, informative, and clear, italicized with all major words capitalized. Considering some examples, this one might be a little too vague. But this one might be way too detailed and too much reading. And so something like this might be just about right. Now don't get too overwhelmed by this very busy graphic. This is taken from the APA style blog, which gives you this example. And so a lot of these details, I would encourage you to just kind of know how to find them and not worry too much about memorizing everything. You just have to be able to look them up when you're actually writing these tables. But some very important qualities about APA-style tables to know. First of all, do you notice that there's never a grid in any of the tables you've seen so far? There are only horizontal lines in APA-style tables, so please remember that. There's one horizontal line at the top and then one at the very bottom, and then under headings and so on as well as needed. But the main point is to make sure that your data are organized clearly and are easy to read. And for specifics, you can read the APA style blog table setup page, which is linked out in this lesson. And so I do encourage you to look over that, make sure that you understand what type of information is laid out there, and then go back and refer to those details when you're actually writing your table. Similarly for figures, again, you kind of need to know the gist and how to find all of this information. But the main thing is that your figure is labeled clearly. And so, for example, axes, if you have a graph like this, should have titles and labels. For example, these tick marks are labeled with data points or values. If you need a legend, then that should be part of your figure, so within the actual chart, and each word should be capitalized for your legend. And again, for more details, you will want to be able to refer back to the figure setup page. And so please do go ahead and look over that page on the APA style blog. This is linked out from Canvas. And go back and refer to it when you need to, when you're creating your APA style figures. Now let's take a look at the notes, because this is a little bit more complicated than the stuff that we've just covered, I think. So the notes start at the bottom of whatever your figure or table might be. And the general note that comes right below whatever table or figure you have is designated by italicized note. So you notice that the N is capitalized and then there's a period at the end. So notes section starts with note, italicized like this, with a period at the end. And then you can explain in words any information the reader has to know about the entire table. Maybe if there are abbreviations, you also spell out the abbreviations and so on. And so after a general note like this, many people will just write things out in words. However, you might notice that there are other types of notes down below as well. Below that can be specific notes. And so you will notice that these use superscripts, just little letters up top like this. You can use the font section of the Home tab in Word to ask for superscript letters. And you have noticed that some part of the table or figure is labeled using those letters, and then you translate what you want to tell the reader here, down here, with additional information in this note. And so each note for each superscript starts with that letter. And then at the very bottom of the note section is the probability note. And so oftentimes you may see asterisks used to designate the level of significance for that statistical test or whatever it may be. And so here are some common notations you can use. And you can use only those probability notes that appear on the table. So for example, for this one, we see 2 asterisks representing p is less than 0.01, and that's the only one that appears here. And so it's only if you've used those designations within the body of your table or figure that you would need to add the probability note at the bottom. And so here are the 3 different kinds of notes you may see. All right, so now we've covered the structure of APA-style tables and figures, and so I would encourage you to combine and integrate information you've learned in this lecture, as well as what you've read in the additional resources, APA-style blog pages on tables and figures, to put together your understanding of what they are supposed to look like, overall structure. And then go ahead and answer the review questions below, and I look forward to hearing from you. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.